So thank you so much for your coming. And then let's recognize who is here today. Okay, all right. So I see David Huang and then Caleb Park, Daniel Lee and Isaac Song, and then John Park and Philip Won and James or Odejimi. Okay, all right. So uh, can each of us say hi and just let people know that you are here? Okay, all right. Okay, starting from David Huang, go ahead. Yeah, say a few words of these words of greeting. Okay, go ahead. Hmm. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, this David Huang. So again, my name is not there, this Zoom. So actually, this time I'm hosting the Zoom link. So as assistant, so so yeah, I have an invitation. So please understand me. So again, we may have a good time to learn leadership through this class. Okay, so
Okay,
thank you.
very good. Okay, go ahead. Just briefly uh, say words of greeting to others. Okay. Go ahead. Isaacson, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Okay, nice to meet you again.
Uh-huh.
Let's learn together. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, how about the Philip one? Go ahead.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you again, and I look forward to today's class. Thank you.
Okay. All right. How about Matthew John? Go ahead. So you're muted. Okay. So Matthew John is muted, but he doesn't recognize. How about Peter Lee? Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. This is Peter Lee from Boston. Is here. It's very cloudy in Boston, but it's not bad. 37 degrees. It's very warm. A little bit drizzling. That's the weather report from Boston. Good to see you all.
All right.
아니 인사하는 거야.
Hi, this
Ready.
is Matthew John from Calgary. Yeah, nice to see you again. Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. That's good. Go ahead. How about Daniel Lee? Go ahead.
Happy Saturday, everyone.
All right. Okay. How about James or Jamie in Nigeria? From Nigeria, go ahead.
Hi everyone, it's good to be here today again. I'm looking forward to getting a lot today.
So, were you able to get all the materials?
Yeah, some I was able to get some. I was able to get Shakespeare.
Hmm.
Then I was also able to get Machiavelli, the Prince. Then the Turner Paul, that's the Weak and the Strong. I could only borrow online. But I could only borrow to read online, so I'm going through that right now.
Okay. All right. That's good. Thank you. How about Peter Bao? Okay, you are muted. Okay.
Mr. Peter, I cannot hear.
I'm sorry, now I'm unmuted. Okay. Hello again. Greetings from Toledo. Nice to meet you again this time, and I'm really excited about attending this class. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. All right. So you guys had a, long meeting, 2 hours meeting about Steve. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, hello.
That's good.
Oh, it looks like you have something on your shoulders in that background.
Not sure. Is that the Toledo University of Toledo on your shoulders? Where your office is? That building in the
That's
back?
Pilgrim's College, I believe.
Right, where his office is.
Yep.
My first time on the campus, I made sure to go to his office and take a picture there. In this big fancy building he has office in.
Okay.
Good to see you all.
Thank you. Today, Steve and I will just present this leadership identity. This one. So I don't want this to be just one-sided lecture. So each section, there is a follow-up questions, and actually these questions are your, these 5 set of questions, but you choose a 2 set of questions for posting before March 7th. And I will also post a short quiz by this Monday. So that's what we'll be doing this module. So this week will be somewhat challenging because you need to post it, but it's not really very difficult. So after this lecture, today or tomorrow or Monday, you just do it. I think it'll be very doable. So let me start. So this is a Christian leadership, and then the module 1 was orientation, and then module 2, this one is the first the point. Okay, so here we talk about what this leadership is about, what is a framework, and why we use some of these books. Okay, we'll talk about those things. All right then. Okay. So if you click this one, you will see that this module 1, this identity, I work with the leadership cohort, and some of these similar the lectures are made by YouTube. So if you would like to see it, I think you can watch it. Okay, all right. But I will not go over, but at least the YouTube is available with this so leadership core team last year I worked. If you recall, I like this 3, 5, 7, but I think to make it more than 5 is very complicated. So look at stage of leadership. There are 5 stages. First, second, third, fourth, 5 stages. So define, discipline, develop, display, determine, 5 Ds. So how leadership growth maturity goals, and then what is the scope of leadership or influence, scales of visibility goals. Okay, so starting from here, identity, I just move on. And one thing I want to share is that this is the foundation's beginning, but that does not mean that this first period just end in 10 or 20 years, and then you just move to the next one. Rather, when you have an identity, this is actually a lifelong process. Okay, all right. So now that is one thing I want to mention. So last week we spoke very briefly that leadership. This does not mean that everybody is going through this. Some people maybe go through just first stage, and that's basically what it is, or first and second stage. And so depending on types of leaders, they go through different, but I think the 5 stages, some level of 5 stages people go through if they are in normal pattern of leadership. Okay, so we will go through this, but I think of today, leadership identity is very foundational at the beginning. Then it is about defining identity, and then also basically this consider one's life direction and purpose and his dream and vision. Okay, that is I think this is the first point. And this one is Paul Hong, and then so since this is a Christian leadership, we take this Bible as the main text. So in the Bible, there are about 3,000 plus people are recorded. All the names recorded about 3,000 and more than 10,000 years, depending on how you look at it. And so there are a lot of the biblical characters, right? Okay, and there are also there's men and women there, but more men are recorded than women. Okay, all right. So I randomly wrote down these names, these representative names of people, and then one time I gave a short presentation on what it means to walk with God, about our being, our love relationship, and then what is it doing? We are doing is a work of God. So walk with God and walk with God. So both being and doing aspect of life is very important. So that is the way I present it. And then this is simply a purpose of the presentation. This doesn't mean it's people I just followed like that. But if you look at the Bible, there is a walk with God, that is our love relationship with God. There is a high and low. Some people, as their relationship with God is much more mature level throughout the year. Some people are not necessarily that way. So we have, I just have this somewhat low and then high, this level of what? A relationship with God. And also their influence and action. And so if you look at a lot of people we are focusing on is these great souls. That means they have a deep love relationship. That's what we aspire to do. And also make a really impact in the world. These are the story of great souls. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who are unsung heroes. They have a great deal of what? Love relationship with God. But, their stories are not necessarily very well recorded in detail. But they are unsung heroes. That doesn't mean they're not great. But unsung heroes are also, a lot of people are there. And then there's a people whose relationship with God is somewhat not clear, but also their role in the world is somewhat not very distinct. So there is a lot of stage characters. Then if you look at people like this Adam and Eve and this one, this is great, these people there, but we will see whether their love relationship with God is somehow, I think, this overall throughout lifetime is exemplary, although their impact and influence in the world is so. If you look at a lot of the kings in Israel history, I just placed here, including Hezekiah. So people, we can just move Hezekiah here, and because he's a great king, but I happen to put it here, knowing what he did his last years of his life and his influence later. Okay, so we have different types of people, okay, in the Bible. So if you go back to the Bible and then see how God used prominent people. So as we study leadership, because these leaders and these leaders, we don't actually see a lot of details. So that's why when you study leadership, mostly when we talk of biblical leadership, we focus on these people. Okay, all right. So having said that, we look at Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac. There's a lot of people. And some of you, your name is Philip, your name is Isaac. The reason why we have Daniel, because these are all these wonderful great souls. We aspire to become. In other words, we want to have a very wonderful this relationship with God. At the same time, I do God's will in this world. So all these people, if you look at their stories, is written more in detail. So one thing in common is God's call. It all start with God's call. So, for example, if you look at Abraham's life, this is a major figure. starting point of all these primary leaders like Abraham is God's calling. Okay, when God called Abraham, he said, I will leave your country and your father's household, and I will bless you, and you will be a blessing. I think that was God's call. And if you look at God's call of Israel, people, nation, in the Mount of Sinai, God said, "You are a kingdom, priest, and holy nation, treasured position." This is all about identity, and then what God calls Simon Peter. From now on, you will be a fisher of men. Actually, what I'm saying here is that this identity aspect is not just only process and then we just do it and we accomplish all. Rather, this identity is about lifelong process of formation and faith and growth and transformation. So if you look at the way God really raised up Abraham, starting from you will be a blessing to calling, but all these different stages, God continuously reminded of this identity. You will be a blessing. All the nations of the earth will be blessed through you. This identity, a purpose and vision of life continued. Okay, all right. So, so what I would like to emphasize here, this is also true in even New Testament. There is a lot of God's the stories of God's calling in the Old Testament. If you look at the New Testament, even Jesus said it's not just one single person. When Jesus called, Jesus looked at the people who are followers, his followers, said, "You are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world." It's all about identity. When the Apostle Paul mentioned about what it means to be a Christian, we are saved by God's grace, but we are God's workmanship, creating Christ Jesus to good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. So this is also about identity. And then our founder, Dr. Samuel Lee, he chose this one as a lifelong keywords. That means throughout his lifetime, he tried to fulfill this God's purpose, this vision of God's purpose to be God's workmanship. And then if you look at here, for you are a chosen people, royal priest, a holy nation of people belong to. It's not only individuals, but people, the church. And so what we can summarize here is God's call is an overarching purpose and direction. And it's in a sense a transformative vision for individuals, families, churches, and nations. So the main thing God wanted to do with individuals, families, and church nations is to plant this identity. So with that, I start with the first basis of this leadership as start with identity. Okay. So we have some discussion questions. So because timing will not spend a lot of time, but let's spend even 5 or 10 minutes. When someone asks you, you have been a Christian for years, so what do you say about your identity? And the next question is, why this identity important? So if you would like to make just comments based on what you think, I think let's do that, okay? So anyone who will volunteer, otherwise I'll just call your name. Okay? I'll wait about 5 seconds. After that, if not response, so please allow me just call your name and then just to share what you think about, okay? Okay, go ahead. How about Philip 1? Okay. So is identity, your identity or this identity is important? So what do you say about this question? Go ahead.
Yes. Yes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Thank you,
Yep.
Dr. Polong. So yes, identity is super important. Identity crisis people experience in the puberty, in like middle school, high school times, and then I heard that midlife crisis also coming in the 50s, identity issue. So if I don't know who am I, then I get confused and I don't know what to do. It's very important knowing who am I, what's my identity.
Okay. So identity. So what do you say about your identity? Well, what do you say? Well,
Yes,
you say, oh, my name is Philip Won, but more specifically, what do you say about your identity?
Spiritually speaking, I think spiritual identity is most important. We have multiple identities, I think. Today, Daily Bread message is talking about we have roles as me, husband, father, son, and then worker. So today is Daily Bread Colossian. So that gives me identity. Who am I? But spiritual identity above all, I believe God called me to the U.S. as a preacher, gospel preacher, and disciple maker. UBF World Mission missionary. So that's my first identity, spiritual sense. And then based on that foundation, then what do? I need to become a influential worker in my workplace, so I can work hard to excel and so yes. So my ground identity is
Okay.
God's servant.
All right. So you will, if someone may choose this set, so when you choose what do you say about identity, then you just write one sentence and then provide some detail explaining what that means. Okay, all right? And then that is true. So when you choose this set, so there's 5 set, which answer both 1 and 2, but each this question at least 200 words, okay? With the topic, this idea, and then some supporting examples and details. Okay, all right. Okay, so Dr. Daniel Lee, you are a man of insight. So what can you say about your identity and why this identity is important?
My identity is a servant of Christ. Actually, you had I think your second question was changed. I thought about the question you had earlier. What is the basis of your identity?
Yeah.
And,
So you can do either way, okay? So what is the basis? So that was the beginning, but at the same time, instead of as only what and what, so what and why. But go ahead, yeah.
I consider myself as a servant of Christ, not because of my human qualifications, but by the grace of God, and particularly Ephesians 2:10. God saved me by the blood of Jesus, only by His grace, and called me to do good work that He prepared in advance for us to do. So in terms of leadership, I never considered myself endowed with any leadership compared to others before Jesus called me. And I do remember some things I did, like in grade school, maybe second grade, I was, I think, a vice president of the class for some reason. And then in college, I spent 3 years for newspaper, school newspaper, and I rose to actually editor-in-chief. And not because I thought I had a leadership, but and then I came to Christ. I mean, not I didn't come. Jesus came to me, and then I was given some responsibilities. I thought always I would do a better job supporting other people for some reason, but God, led me to lead a small ministry. Now I'm retired. That's my identity. It's only by God's grace. That's how I view my identity, and perhaps as a leader in a ministry.
Okay, all right, very good. So a lot of people, have the basis identity uh, uh, is about their job, their positions, and so forth. So that's the way. But that's fine. I think this identity is a lifelong process, so it should be a lot more foundational. So you may have a certain jobs, but you will not have that for life. Okay, you have certain time. So that's why foundation of uh, this identity should be much deeper. I think that's the one idea. So, Steve, do you have any comment on this? Steve?
I wasn't sure how best to support your lecture, so I did prepare a pretty thorough answer to this question personally.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if we have time to go over it. It's about 4 slides, PowerPoint. So,
Okay, I think that's fine. If you have a slides to present, I think you can do it. You can post it.
yeah,
Because of timing, could you share the main idea?
Yeah, I think
in a couple of minutes? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
the main idea is basically, as you just said, that when Jesus was talking about the Sermon on the Mount, he concluded with the story of the house built on the rock.
Mm-hmm.
And he really encouraged us to consider what we do with what we hear.
No.
And to me, the biggest thing of identity is self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Often we look at our resume and we're pressing forward in a career path as our identity. But Jesus' word takes us to reflect not only forward, but also backward on, I really appreciate Missionary Daniel's expression on the grace of God.
No.
Otherwise, we find that we continually are building on the sand. So I found that my identity has been based on the word of God. And I could chart it very carefully throughout the past 25 years and see that ultimately it rests in John 14:6. Jesus is the way, and I'm following the way.
Oh.
And ultimately, that's my identity.
Mm.
That's been the theme. I am a follower of Jesus, and that impacts my view of leadership, and it impacts my direction of life and my identity. Especially, I think it's also important, as you said, it's a developing process. It's not something we move on from. I was thinking about how Jesus explained even his own disciples' development in identity from servant. He said, I no longer call you servants. Now I call you friends. So he himself wanted them to develop their identity in relationship with him, not just to one level, but continually. And I could see that in my own life and journey. And I guess my one thing is that the unexamined life is not worth living. That's the Socrates quote. And I think that's what Jesus wants us to do, is to examine, to consider, to look back and to see. So your lecture touches on that a lot later when you talk about content as well and the inner person. How we grow and develop in our identity doesn't happen in a vacuum. So that was, I'll post something of what I shared in the forum.
Yeah. So please, either send to David Wang, and then I think your slide, I think we'll post it. Okay. All right. Now, because of timing, I will move on, and then I think other people have a chance. So the key here is that the basis of our identity is not something, some inherent our strengths and weaknesses, or our positions, our achievements. Rather, it really about God's grace, because God's core itself is a grace. So when we have all this identity, the very foundation identity based on the grace of God and God's purpose, then it is not, it is actually a very solid foundation. Based on that, we just keep building. And then personally, until I came to college and studied Bible, I had no idea who I am. Well, I have some idea about who I am based on the strength and so forth. But when I first studied Genesis, you will be a blessing. I mean, that be a blessing in this world, that was really, very transformational and amazing. And if someone asking, what is your life keywords? and I will say you will be a blessing. That doesn't mean I just be a blessing in every way, but at least that identity based on the grace of God and direction actually was very, very foundational. So we'll think about these things and please respond, okay?